Hey team, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to go ahead and talk about the new breeding mechanics that has been basically introduced in Genesis 2. Now, whether they're broken or overpowered is kind of up to you guys. We already know that this new DLC basically just introduces whatever they wanted, and it just kind of rushes everyone to endgame, which I'm okay with, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people are upset about the new drops and how strong a lot of the things are, but I'm completely okay with it, and this is going to be another one of those things. In my opinion, this is very, very strong, and it's probably going to be one of those things that needs to be pushed kind of early game, just because, well, maybe not even necessarily early game, but mid game, because it's going to give you such a huge advantage. And we're going to talk about the new breeding that you can do based off some of the new items that were introduced, aka the Mutagen that was introduced, and how it works, what it can do, what it can't do, and let's just go ahead and jump into the video here. So I've gone ahead and brought in both Gigas and Void Worms. It doesn't really matter. The only reason I brought in Gigas is because those are one of the things that most people want to mutate the most, right? Because melee damage is key on Gigas. The health and stam from Mutagen doesn't really matter. And we're going to go ahead and test out to find out exactly how much stat it gives, and then kind of when to use the Mutagen, how to use it properly. That way you can get the most out of your bang, basically for your buck here. So let's jump straight into it. We'll go ahead and start with the wyverns first, just because this is going to be a little bit more straightforward, I think. So let's go ahead and jump straight into these guys. Okay, so before we jump straight, I guess before we go too much more into detail, if you don't know how breeding works, definitely make sure you check out the breeding video that I posted quite a while back. I think it's how to breed like a mega, just so you can get a little bit more understanding on exactly what you're going to be looking for and how that works. Just as a heads up, these guys have not been leveled at all, so this is going to be basically the base stats per them being just max tamed, max force tamed rather. So responding at 150, force tamed with maximum efficiency. They came out at 337, which seems a little high. So it'd be 180 plus the level. So maybe not. I guess that's, no, it definitely still seems a little bit high. Anyway, it doesn't really matter for this particular video. We're just going to look at stats, right? So the big ones we're going to look at here are the health, the stamina, and the melee damage. We don't really care about the rest, and I don't believe Mutagen actually affects the rest. It only affects those three. And we're going to take, if you don't know how breeding works, basically there's a 70% chance that the highest stat out of every single one of these, so 70% chance here, 70% chance here, so on all the way down, is going to be transferred to the offspring of the baby. So we have a male and a female here. So for example, we have 11,582 here. We have a 12,165. There's a 70% chance that the baby's going to get this, and a 30% chance that it's going to get the lower stat from the father. What Mutagen does is it goes ahead and gives it an additional 20 levels. So we can give Mutagen to this one and Mutagen to this one, and it's going to give it 20 additional levels. We're going to do that in just a second. I want to go ahead and take a baby out of here first, just so you guys can, we'll probably take a couple of babies out here first, just so we can kind of get some comparison. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. Alright guys, so just for the sake of the video and just showing you guys how this actually works, I went ahead and grabbed two eggs from the Gigas and 2 eggs from the wyverns. So just as a reminder, it's going to have a 70% chance to get the higher health. We're just going to look at health for this video, or this part of the video specifically. So 12,000 is the more likely of the two. Let's go ahead and throw them both down really quick. Okay. I guess I probably should claim them before I try and do that. Okay, so now looking at this, what we actually have here is, let's just look at the health. We have 11.5 on this one and 12, so we got half and half on these ones. This is the general idea, and then if you don't know, imprinting increases those stats and so on and so forth, right? So that's the general idea. So we're going to name these guys Test 1 and Test 2, change the name. Or no, sorry, Test 1. We're just going to name them both Test 1 and move them out of the way for now. Not going to worry about imprinting them at the moment. We're just going to leave it. And I will fully grow these and kind of move them out of the way, just so we have them for reference later if we need to. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and jump into the next part of the testing here. What we're going to do is we're going to feed these both Mutagen, which you're going to see here. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, I kind of want to test something here. So let me get the actual stat points here really quick, just to see what these look like. All right, so I had to actually go ahead and switch these over. Unfortunately, Smart Breeder's not updated for the new dinos yet, but basically it's going to be the same concept. So you guys already kind of saw what the basic idea of breeding is. And like I said, if you want more detail, go ahead and check out the actual breeding video. But, okay, so now I went ahead and pulled this. We have the male here. Let's rename this one to actually, just so you guys have kind of idea of which one's which when I'm talking about them. This one's the male, this one is the female. Okay, so now looking at the male, we have, let's go ahead and pull these up. So we have 39 points in HP, 42 in stam, oxy food weight we're not going to worry about, and then 43 points into damage. What I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and force feed him some of this mutagen, and we're going to see what the actual stats change. So right now we have about 8,000 health, 976 stam, and 341. Let me write these down just so I have the 885, 976, and then 341. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and feed it mutagen first off, and we're going to see if this actually changes, just because, well, it definitely is going to change. I just want to see how much it changes and if we can get the exact stats from this, so you guys kind of see what it is. I believe it's just a flat 20 levels. What I don't know, however, is if it gives exact percentages or exact numbers into each one of these stats every single time. So that's what we're going to test right now. So we're going to go ahead and feed it 82 of these. As you can see, it got upgraded. So the health definitely went up. The stamina definitely went up. The oxygen was unchanged, the food was unchanged, the weight was increased, so weight does actually increase, and then the damage was increased. So my guess is we're going to get 5 levels in each one of these, because as we can see, this is now 245 and this is a 225, so it gave it exactly 20 levels. That's what we're going to go ahead and double check. So let's see if this will actually export again here really quick, and let's see if it will tell us what the, no, it's going to be kind of broken here. So you know what, I wonder if it'll work if we change it to bread. No, it's not gonna work at all. Okay, unfortunately it does not look like it's gonna show us exactly what it is, but that's okay, not that big of a deal. Let's just do this one. So let's go back really quick, let's export this one again, and then what I'm gonna do is I am going to just put 5 levels in each one of these and see and tell you what it says that it should be. Wait a second. Oh, that's weird. Since we tamed a wild one, it went ahead and gave us the things. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and put 5 levels in each one of these just so we can see. Last exports. It's not going to work for me the way I want it to, is it? Nope, it's not going to level it up. Okay, so let's go ahead and, you know what, let's just manually type it in afterwards. So let's go ahead and give it the mutagen again. Okay, and then I'm going to type this in and see exactly what it says, because right now it says it's supposed to be at 38. It's not going to work. It's completely just jacking everything up. What we do know is that, same thing, all 4 stats were increased again, and it looks like it's just going to be a direct 5 into each one. So that's the first thing to know, I guess. So right off the bat, we're going to get an automatic 5, just to make sure. Yeah, it looks like these are still going to be the same. Okay, cool. So looking at this, we already know, I've already kind of told you that 70% chance that it's going to get the higher stat. And in this case, we're looking at the male being the higher of the two in terms of health and melee. So what I want to do is I wanted to show you guys first off that it does give it 20 points. It looks like it gives it a flat 5 points into HP, 5 points into stamina, 5 points into weight, and 5 points into damage. So right off the bat, we're going to go ahead and get an automatic, basically 5 mutations into each one of those, or 20 total mutations. It does not show mutations on the actual ancestry, so it doesn't count as any sort of mutations when you actually breed them up. Let's go ahead and get a baby really quick and show you guys what that looks like now. Also note that we do have a little yellow sign here. I believe that means that's the first time it's been mutated, or it was wild and we actually mutated it, and that's what that means, because we're going to show a different one here in just a second. Okay, so we went ahead and got 4 different eggs from this little pair, just so we can kind of make sure everything's going to be equal. This will go ahead and confirm for us as well if the 5 points is exactly kind of what we had talked about before. So I think it's going to be 5 points into each one of these. Let's hatch up each one of the eggs, and we already know that the majority of these should have the dad's health, and we're hoping that we have at least a couple of the same stat on each one of these. So if we look at this first one, we do have the dad's health. Okay, second one, we do not have the dad's health. That's okay. Oh, didn't want to pick it up. Wanted to hatch it. Okay, and this one does have the dad's health. And then finally, this one also has the dad's health. So kind of like what we talked about. I mean, that's 75% right there. So we're looking at this. Let's look at, do we have these two are almost identical. So they have 329% melee, 329% melee, 9,057 health on both of them. Now, as we can see here, there's no little icon like there is on these guys. If we go back over here, there's a yellow icon, meaning that we did feed it mutagen over here on these guys, right? There are no icons here on these ones at all. So no indication that we fed them any sort of mutagen. So let's give ourselves some more mutagen. We're gonna need a good amount of it. And then we're gonna go ahead and first we're gonna feed, we're gonna need these guys to be grown up just a little bit. So set baby age, 0.5. Oh, we didn't do age. Okay, set baby age 0.5. We're also gonna feed this one, or get this one up to 0.5 as well. Bam, okay. Now we have both of these guys at 0.5. So first, let's go ahead and give them enough mutagen to do it. So it's 82, just like it was with the parents, right? So first, this is gonna go up to 92, 92.51, and 334. Let's give it this one, or give this one mutagen as well and see if it's exactly the same. 92.51, 334. So it looks like we went ahead and confirmed. It looks like it does 100% give 5 points here, 5 points here, 5 points here, and 5 points here. So an additional 20 levels. But if we're looking at these, unfortunately they didn't get the exact levels from their parents, so their levels are going to be a little bit different. But they did go ahead and basically we've given them a total. Let's turn off the breeding here. We've given them a total of plus 40 levels at this point because we gave these guys plus 20 levels and we gave these guys plus 20 levels. So they've gotten a minimum, right? If these guys were exactly the same, if they had the exact same stats and they birthed them onto here, from when we tamed them, they would have been 225. These guys would be 265, or the potential of 265. This one's pretty close to getting all the stats. But the potential basically is to give them an additional 40 levels from when you tame them to when the first breeding session occurred. So that's kind of where we're at with these. Now, the next thing that I kind of want to test here is if we can still imprint them and then give them mutagen. So I believe it was this one, right? Yeah, this one has a little bit higher on the melee, but that's okay. And I'm kind of curious if after giving them an imprint, if we can still give them mutagen, because if you read the mutagen, it does say can only be used or can be used to improve the statistics of non-bred dinos. Clearly we bred these, so I don't know if this is a bug or maybe we won't be able to do it on the second batch, which we will test here in just a second. But let's go ahead and imprint this once and then see if we can still do it. All right, I spawned in one wyvern milk, so let's go ahead and imprint him. Gonna go up 0%, but we have imprinted him at this point. Let's see if we can still feed him. Looks like we definitely still can. So let's level him up a little bit, just like we did with the other ones. Put the mutagen in here. And we can definitely still give him the additional 20 levels. So that's pretty interesting. Now, I do want to note that this has a green bar now. What I want to do really quick is I'm going to go ahead and get this guy all the way up to 100%. There we go. And then we will... Actually, I wonder if I can do like 99.9%. Oh, I can. Okay, so this one should finish here in just 2 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and let it finish, and then I'm gonna mate this one with the parents, and we're gonna see if we can do it again after that. That's gonna be the key here, because if we can do it every single time we breed them, that's gonna be insane. Let's find out. And just to confirm, it shows 0 mutations on both sides, so this does not count against the mutation slider. All right, so I went ahead and got an egg from these two. So this is going to be test 1, and we're going to go ahead and show the stats. So this is the increased stats, still 0 imprint, so nothing's actually changed in terms of the base stats, right? This is what the actual stats look like as of right now. So 9,400 health is the higher of the two, with 9,000 health being on the dad. So let's go ahead and hatch this egg. Hopefully we just get it in one. If not, I'll just hatch a couple eggs. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, here we go, hatched egg. And we're sitting at the, I think we got, did we just get the dads, melee and, no, I think we got the moms. Yep, we got someplace in between actually. I wonder if we only got the original? Do we have any sort of, we don't have anything here. Wait a second. Okay, that's interesting. Let's hatch a couple more eggs just because I want to find out exactly what that looks like. Hold on one sec. Okay, I picked up 3 more eggs here. Let's throw them on the ground. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Oh my gosh. There we go. Okay, let's claim all of these really quick. Let's check the health and the melee really quick. Health is 90. This is 37. 90, 37. And last but not least, 90, 37. So all three of these came out exactly the same. What were the stats on this one? These ones were also 90, 37. So these are the mom and the dad, right? So let's look at their stats. So we have 94 from being mutated here, 37. This was, and then the 37 here. Now, this one doesn't have the 37. This one actually has the 37, if I'm not mistaken. No. Interesting. That's really weird. Because they don't have, it doesn't have the melee damage from either one of them. It does have the health from the dad on every single one of the eggs, which makes sense because technically before we fed this one mutagen, it also had the 90 or the 9,000 health, right? So that's what it basically would have come out to, or that's what it did come out to after it had mutagen. Why it's coming out with an additional 4%, more than 4%, right? No, 4% melee damage, I am not really sure on. Let's feed one of these. Let's feed this one mutagen here. So let's set the baby age up to 5. Give it mutagen and see what it looks like. I think it's going to look exactly like the mom on this one. 75, 92, 50. 376, 94, 24. Because we didn't have a imprint on it. That's exactly what it was. So even though it didn't show that it had an imprint, it did actually have an imprint on it. So it looks like it actually inherited all of the stats from the parent, and then it went green again. So while yes, we do actually get the additional 5 levels in everything from the babies being born, and the additional 5 levels after you go ahead and give it here, basically what this does is this increases anything that you get. You can get an automatic 5% levels right off the bat, so you're going to get an additional 5% or 5 mutations on health, stamina, health, stamina, weight, and melee damage from anything you tame early game. Doesn't matter what it is. So this isn't really going to be a huge impact on officials because they're already capped out anyway, but anywhere you're starting on a new server, this is going to be huge because you're getting an additional 5 health, 5 stamina, 5 weight, 5 melee damage, and this is automatically bred into the babies with the yellow stat, right? With the yellow icon. Once you get the baby, it knows that the parent had the mutation here, and then it actually goes ahead and passes on the green, or once you feed on the green, you can give it an additional 5 here, 5 here, 5 here, and 5 here. So you can get an additional 10 points into health, stamina, weight, and melee on every single one of your tames. That's going to be kind of a big change. That's a huge change, really. That basically increases stats on all fresh servers a lot. The only other thing that I do want to test actually is I want to find out if mutating this one with a wild one will get rid of the bonus here, get rid of the yellow or green bonus, and act as if it doesn't have a bonus at all. So let's test that really quick because that's really going to be the only other thing to kind of influence any sort of stats here. Okay, so I went ahead and spawned in another wild male to go ahead and breed with our 2nd gen female. We're going to go ahead and hatch those eggs here really quick and see what those look like, right? So once you feed that mutagen again on a wild one, it goes into that yellow mode. Once you feed a baby of a mutagen dino, it goes into the green mode, which is what we have here for test 1. Let's find out what happens if we mix now a green one and a wild one. I don't know if it's going to make a difference here, but let's find out. Okay, so first things first, it does have the mother's health, right? It does have the mother's health. It looks like it has the dad's melee, but it does have the mom's health. So that's going to be key. So let's do set baby age to 0.5. Okay, it's big enough to hold the mutagen now. Let's see what happens now when we give it more mutagen. Oh, looks like it still goes green. So even if you go ahead and mutate it with another wild one, it doesn't make a difference. The mutagen from one parent looks like it's going to be enough to cap out, and it doesn't really matter. So it's going to take the mom or the dad, whatever one has mutagen, and it's going to count it. So it does now have mutagen specifically from this one. I mean, this one basically it's second gen mutagen at this point. So good to know. And I'm kind of curious. Well, no, that's pretty much it, right? So the idea here, if you are having a hard time keeping up with this video, if you tame a wild dino at this point, you can give them an additional 20 levels. It goes 20 levels into health, 20 levels into melee, or sorry, 5 levels into health, 5 levels into melee, 5 levels into weight, and 5 levels into damage. Now, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. That can be passed on to the baby. Now, if we're thinking in terms of gigas, right, the only thing that really matters on a giga is going to be the melee damage. So if you think about it like this, if you get a giga with 1 melee damage, you give it a mutagen, it's now going to have 6 melee damage, and it's going to be able to pass that on to the baby. The baby has a 70% chance, let's say that it's mating with another 1 melee damage, there's a 70% chance to take the 6 melee damage. After that baby is born, you can go ahead and give it another mutagen and knock it up to 11 melee damage. So you just went ahead and took a melee or a giga that had 1 melee damage and turned it into a giga with 11 points in melee damage. So you can give it an additional 10 points in damage baseline from the get-go as of now. Does this work with mutated dinos? That one we're not 100% sure on, and I'm probably not going to test it here because it's going to take a long time to cap out 20 mutations on a dino just to double check it. But even if it does or doesn't, it doesn't matter. You can get an additional 10 points basically one way or another, especially on fresh servers, for your gigas, which is huge, and people aren't really going to be able to tell that you have that mutation, so, or the mutagen, or if you don't, which is a great thing for, I think, new servers. I don't know if this is broken. You guys make the decision on if you guys think this is broken or not. I think it's kind of a good addition. It's going to help people kind of catch up a little bit while not putting it over the top. If you could have stacked mutagen, absolutely would have been broken, but it looks like they've stopped anyway to stack the mutagen. You can't get more than 10 points into all of these, or a total of 40 points. But I mean, 40 points, still 40 points. It is only going to be, what, 20 points on specific things. So like rock golems or anything you can't breed, right? Reapers, rock golems, griffins, those kind of things, you're only going to get an additional 20 levels since you can't breed them anyway. But that kind of helps even this out a little bit more. I do wish that maybe they would have given a little bit more levels on the ones you can't breed, but that's okay. This is still a pretty cool and interesting way to kind of beef up dinos. And it's definitely a new addition to ARC, which I think people are going to have to get used to. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it below. If you guys like the information, go ahead and hit the like button. If you guys want to see more random facts and findings that we have about Gen 2, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.